So as I told you, this is Dr. Shweta Santalia, course director and mentor at MRCOG, and I welcome you all for today's session. And as I told you, today's introductory session is about troubleshooting our dilemmas, what we are doing, is it right, is it wrong, and to understand what is the right way of preparing for the part 2, how much time. So all your queries regarding exam preparation, I hope you will have an answer at the end of this session. So that is the purpose. And definitely our main agenda today is how to make notes. How to make notes, because notes making is something everybody feels challenging because the syllabus is so vast for this part 2 exam. So definitely we all feel at the end, in the beginning we are very enthusiastic and we start making notes, and then the problem is we make big notes, and by that time we keep on moving to the module by module, we get tired and we think, am I really making a right note? So thinking that is a main problem everybody is facing, and the main problem others are facing, which exam to go for, shall I go for September, shall I go for January? So these are some problems everybody is facing nowadays, and I'm getting a lot of queries. So I thought, let us discuss it today, and I'm very happy to have you all here, and I welcome you all for today's session. So let's start some general talk today first, and then after that we will go through the GTG and talk, and then we will discuss the questions from the talk. So first, to know your mentor, most of you must be knowing me by Telegram, by Facebook, by YouTube channel. So I'm Dr. Shweta Santhalia. I did my MD from KM Hospital, Mumbai in 2008. And after that, I practiced. Now I'm 13 plus years in practice. After that, I did laparoscopy training. I did infertility training. So, and then I did my MRCOG in 2019. And today's a special day actually, because today, 29th of May, is the day when 3 years back, I received my part 3 result. So really, I'm very happy today that I'm doing this today, and I'm really glad and elated that I have finished 3 years now of that happy moment, which I got when I got the result of part 3. So as I always say, success stories are unique. So never ever try to judge yourself. This is my success stories. This is my success stories. This is my son. He was 9 months old when I attended my convocation. So you can see I finished all my part in first attempt with God grace. And I finished it in 1.5 years, all my parts. So that I was lucky for that. So I don't want you people to compare yourself with anybody else, because your success stories will be unique, and I'm sure your story will be unique. So make your own story. So don't try to get disheartened. Don't try to compare yourself with anybody, because your shoes are different than others. So success stories are unique. So I hope that tomorrow you will be able to tell me your own success story. Now, today's agenda, how to start preparing for the exam, how to make notes, how to read talks, very important. This is the most challenging job, because it is really vast, because GTG anyways, we all have to read, and we all know that we are going to read it 100%. But how many talks to read, how to make the notes for talks, these are all challenging aspects we will cater. Then we have the Jan 2023 course introduction. Then we have the discussion of GTG, FAB 2022, cervical and cerclage. Then we have the SBS session from Talk 2022, Volume 1, the most recent one which you have to read. After that, you got the another second volume also. But for this exam, definitely you don't have to read that for July attempt. Now, earlier, I did one introductory session in last December when I started the course for July, 7-month course for July. So this is another introductory session which I did at that time. You can go through that if you like. The topic covered there in detail is assisted vaginal birth and amenorrhea, the most confusing topic for most of the students. So hopefully you will like it. Now, if you see, the expression of interest for January has not come yet. So the next exam, July, already everybody has booked the exam. So for September, expression of interest has opened on Friday, 6th May, and it will close on Friday, 1st July. So now, if you are planning for September, you have time till 1st of July to send your expression of interest. So don't miss the date. Never ever miss the calendar. So booking window will be opening on 21st July. So this is for September exam, and for January, it will be coming later. Now, exam format, this is all for the students who are starting their preparation for January or for September. So if you want to know the format, there are total 50-50 questions, total two paper, one is obstetric, one in gynecology, but usually there is overlap of question. 50 SBA, 50 EMQs. You all know EMQ is the main trouble for everybody. Why it is so? Why EMQ is difficult? Because for EMQ, you have to have a precise knowledge, you have to have a clear concept, you have to have a stepwise approach. Then only you can solve it. So EMQ is really challenging because until unless you have a thorough knowledge of that topic, you cannot solve the EMQ, you cannot make it correct. So EMQ, always every student, if you ask, what do you think, what is challenging, they will say EMQ is most difficult because it needs a clear concept. That's why it is challenging. So it's a 3 hour. Paper 1 is 3 hour, paper 2 is 3 hour, and in between break is 1 hour. And you don't have to read in that 1 hour. That is just to relax your mind between the two challenging exam. If you see how you should give your exam and how you should take how much time for that, the RCOG says that you should spend 70 minutes on SBA and 110 minutes for EMQ. Because SBA, if you know the answer, you will directly tick it. You don't have to spend much time on that. But EMQ, you have to think sometime, memorize sometime, recall things what you read earlier and make. The important aspect of answering the EMQ is whenever you are answering an EMQ, whenever you read one EMQ, you make your answer in your mind and then go to the options because it will be 20 to 25 options. So by reading 20 to 25 option and excluding method is not going to work. So in EMQ, always make your answer beforehand and then go to the options, and you will find that 4 or 5 options are close to what you kept in your mind. Like antibiotic, if you chose antibiotic of doxycycline, might be you will find 4 or 5 options which will be mentioning doxy with different doses, with different time period like that. So you ultimately then it becomes an SBA because the question answer is in your mind, and now from that 5 options you have to choose one. So it becomes easier. So EMQ, the sole criteria of solving it is first you should make your answer in your mind and then go and choose from the option. Otherwise, it will be really, really time taking and you will get lost with 20 to 25 options. So please be careful about that. SBA easy to handle because SBAs are clear cut and you have only 5 options to choose. So it's easier. And once you are well versed with EMQ, believe me, SBAs is like butter for you, like you can easily solve them because once your concept are clear, SBAs are going to be really, really easier for you. So the main focus of exam, the main reason for not succeeding in exam is EMQs. Okay, so this is the syllabus. You all know these are all the modules. Syllabus is vast and we have to be really smart and hardworking to finish it on time and revise at least 3 times before the exam. What we should all read, we all know almost GTG, we have to read NICE, we have to read TOG article, BASH, FSRH, SIP, MEBRACE report of last 2 years, and clinical governance, teaching and consent. Now, how to read is very important. How much importance to give to each line of the guideline is important. Reading pattern for all these is different. You cannot read all the things in same way. GTG, when you read, you have to be really, really alert. You have to read in between the line, understand it, and then make your notes. So GTG reading, really, really challenging. And you cannot read it with tired mind, with tired day, and that like that. So your first reading of GTG should be really, really important. And you should be doing it in a really, really good way. Then you will mark it. Then in first reading, you're not going to remember anything, believe me. First reading you will do and you will mark it. So you know what all is given in the GTG. You get a structure of the GTG. That is what you have done. Then in the second reading, you will make the notes. Never ever make your notes in first reading. If you will make the notes in first reading, then you will end up writing the whole GTG, which doesn't make sense. So please don't do that. GTG you will read. One time you will read to understand. Second time you will read and make the notes. This is what you have to do. Never ever in the first. And in some GTGs, like VTE guideline, like endometrial hyperplasia guideline, even you will make your notes after 3 readings because that is really, really challenging. So sometimes you have to vary your rule according to what GTG you are reading. But GTG is really, really important to make notes of your own of 1 or 2 pages because without that, at the end, revising is difficult. Because at the end, even you can revise 10 GTG in a day because you already have your notes, you already remember it, you just have to brush up. So that is important. Nice. If you see when you read it, nice will look like it's very easy. I just have to read it. It's very easy language, but it's the most complicated guideline to remember because they will tell you recommend, they will tell you consider, they will tell you uh, follow or not follow, where they write consider, where they write what. It's very difficult. Believe me, when I made the notes of nice, I used three colors: black, green, red. So I use three colors because with one color you cannot know. The threads are so much. They will start with one topic and then it will go on and on and on and never ending. And at the end you forget where you started. So nice, making nice guidelines summaries are the most challenging job. Believe me, rather than GTG. At least in GTG they have something bold black so you understand this is important. In nice they just give you like a uniform pattern of words and nothing highlighted, nothing importantly given. So nice is really difficult, but some nice guidelines are the only source and you have to read it, like hypertension, diabetes, infertility, urogynecology. So these are the main source and you cannot ignore it. So definitely nice is important. So you have to read it. And for nice, you should make your notes after first reading. No need of waiting for the second reading because again, second time you will read, you will not remember anything. You will again get lost in this big guideline, which has only some significant point. So nice, make your notes after one reading. GTG, make your notes after two or three reading according to the level of difficulty of GTG. And GTGs are the most important part. 60 to 70% of the exam comes from the guideline. So these two things you have to do really well. Then comes the TOG article. TOG articles, basically you really have to do a smart study rather than hard work because this is just like article, like journals. TOG is journals of UK. So what happens? They will write many things which you don't have to read. Like some things are written for the super specialization, like infertility specialist, laparoscopy surgeon, oncologist, and all that. So not everything you have to read one by one, page by page, first page to last page, first word to last word. No, it's not has to be read like the guideline. So you have to read it like a paper, like an article, and then whatever you like at the end you should make a summary of that, and it shouldn't be more than one page. For TOG, it should never be more than one page, other than the charts and table, whatever important ones are there. But your summary should be one page only. Because uh, TOGs, if you read, you feel, oh God, so much is given, how I will remember this, that, and don't focus on much on the percentage of TOG. Because TOG numbers are usually not asked in exams, other than specifically where the number is not there in guidelines. And anyways, nowadays the number questions are decreasing. They are more focusing on your concept. So don't run behind the numbers because at the end, whatever hard you will try, at the end, your brain is not a computer. And at the end, you will not be able to remember all the numbers. So my suggestion to you all that don't run behind numbers, run behind concept because EMQs are never on numbers. And most of the student, if you listen, they tell we couldn't make it because of EMQ. So definitely you are weak, not on number, but on concept. So try to focus on the concept is what you need. As I told you, talk reading is an art and you have to select only like out of six topic. Every year we get 4 talks, out of which every talk we get 2 to 3 topics only you have to read, another 2 to 3, no need. If you can give it a read, good. But you should read and remember, you should read only what you can revise at the end and you can remember. This is the basic rule. Read only what you can remember at the end, otherwise no benefit. What happens? Students, when they
Mo ti
start the
ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ pè
preparation.
padà ni mo fi hàn pé ó tí kì í.
Yes, somebody mic is open. If you can please close it. Dr. Akira, if you can please close it.
Okay.
Dr. Akira, if you can please close your mic, my dear. Yes, Dr. Akira, you have any doubt? Okay. So as I was telling you that what I was telling you, talk. Huh? All talks you shouldn't have to remember. All talk you shouldn't have to read. But they say that last 3 years, sometimes they will say you that last 5 years, but it's practically not possible. Last year talk, yes, acceptable. You can give it a read for your understanding of that topic. But ultimately, at the end, you will remember whatever you write in your piece of paper, what you revise at the end. So try to focus, try to prioritize in talk because you cannot read everything. And there are many old talks which are important and which are always important in the exam. So old talks also to be read, like maternal medicine, many old talks, infertility, many old talks are there which you have to cover. Urogynecology, some old talks are there. Oncology, some old talks are there, like risk reducing surgery and many. So you have to understand that you have to prioritize, otherwise it's difficult. Believe me, the syllabus is really, really vast, really, really vast. Until unless you prioritize rightly, until unless you make your notes and make it shorter, every revision is shorter, it's difficult. So every revision of yours should be shorter than the first reading, is what your goal should be, and how to make it, you can personalize your way in that way. Bash, many bash is there. You all know many bash, many FSRH guideline is there, but you have to understand these are our main focus. So don't run behind this. Most of the students say contraception is difficult for me, oncology is difficult for me. Why? Because contraception too much. So don't run behind it. You have to read the summary in the beginning and some points inside. So you have to prioritize in FSRH, you have to prioritize in BASH, because these are not a big chunk. So try to understand what is more important and what is less important, so that you will be able to do the right prioritization. SIP, if you see SIP nowadays, SIPs are decreasing day by day because they are covering everything in TOG, in the new TOG. So earlier there were some oncology SIPs, some other SIPs, but now only SIP left is air travel in pregnancy, according to me. So air travel in pregnancy is the most important SIP. Other than that, some are new coming. So other than that, SIPs are not very much. So don't be worried about that, because nowadays TOG questions are increasing. Even they are making EMQ from TOG. So they are focusing more on TOG rather than SIP. So be clear about that. MEBRACE of last 1 2 year, and this is always confusing. So for most of the student, the teaching consent clinical governance, because we don't have a source for it. Mostly we read it from strategy, but strategy, specifically student asked me how to use strategy. Believe me, strategy is not going to do any magic. Strategy is a vast thing, and you cannot read it fully. So don't try to finish strategy. And strategy, sometimes the numbers are different from the guideline, because guideline are updated. Sometimes strategy, some numbers are old also. So be careful. Don't read strategy topics. You only have to do the questions, and some topics like fetal medicine, like some things like teaching methods, all that things, clinical governance part. These are the things you have to read from strategy. Otherwise, you cannot read strategy. It's practically impossible, because your main focus is this. Don't forget your main focus. Don't forget your main focus, and these are your side dishes. So main course is first, and main course is more important, that you have to keep in mind. So anybody has any doubt about it, that which things to give more importance in the exam, or any doubt about how to read, or which I should give more focus or less focus, or if you have any doubt, you're most welcome. Okay, so I assume that I have made it clear that how you'll go about in priority wise in your reading. Now these are the books. If you see, these are the SBA EMQ books. Only reading is not going to work, because you have to ultimately give exam in question format. So every day, little reading, little question solving is what you have to do. So don't forget that, and keep a balance of that, because without that, sometimes what happens, students keep reading, keep reading. Some students keep solving question, keep solving questions. So the right way is first make your concept by reading, and then solve the questions, which will help you in the exam. So both things are equally important. Now, how to make notes, how to do preparation, if you ask me. Like for ectopic pregnancy, if you see, there is a GTG, there is a NICE, and there is a TOP. So what you have to do, you have to read all the things together. Yani, today you will read the ectopic pregnancy GTG, right? Tomorrow you will read the NICE. Then you will read the cesarean scar ectopic TOG. Now you will make your notes. Why you should read it all together? Because if I read NICE today, and after 2 days or 3 days I will read GTG, or after 2 days I will read this, I'll forget what is already written here, what is already written here, what is already written here. And this is the last one, because these two more important. So first I should read it, make my notes, then I should supplement the knowledge with this, so there will be no duplication. And whatever extra in the talk only, I will make one page note. If I start reading from here, I will think everything is important, because I don't know what is written in GTG, what is written in NICE. So that way your note will be longer and longer, and it will be non-significant, because at the end you will think there is duplication. It's not precise. So precise notes are really important. So you should read all the threads of that topic together so that your notes will be more precise, more short, more crisp notes you can make like that. And as I told you, you can use different colors, and you should always make after 2 reading and after 1 reading. And this one reading is enough. So this is how you have to make your notes. Now, as I told you, question solving are, especially the EMQ solving, are really, really important because in exam you feel challenging EMQ. Why? Because they are very close. Like in herpes, they will give you weeks of gestation accordingly, the management, PPROM accordingly, the management, like that. So you really, really have to well remember everything about the topic where there are 3, 4, 5 scenarios because that will come as EMQ. So you should understand when you are reading, and then accordingly you will be able to understand how to solve the EMQ. So you have to study hard, no doubt about that. But at the same time, you have to study smart also and make your notes and revision, as I told you, shorter every time when you do it again and again. Clear concept and precise notes is what is required. Without that, it's difficult. Now, for TOG, as I told you how to read TOG, this is the volume 23, means 2021, volume 3 I took. If you see here, 2 topics to be read. This one, a new topic in the sense earlier it was in the SIP. Now it is in the TOG. So definitely TOG more important than SIP. And it cover all non-epithelial ovarian cancer. So it's a good thing to read. You get everything in one place and you know the source is right. So you be happy about a new talk because new talk make your concept more clear. It is a supplement to your GTG and nice reading. It is not a headache, believe me. It really give you more clear cut idea, and it's important from exam point of view because the SBS will come from the recent talk. So read this one. This one you just have to give a read and just note down your point. And this one no need of reading because all the things whatever you have covered in FSRH is here, nothing new. This one nothing new. Only they have introduced something, but still not clear, still not enough evidence, so still not in clinical practice. So nothing new here from the GTG. Whenever some gross changes happen, they will renew the GTG itself. So be clear about that. So TOG is only to supplement the knowledge, and you have to make your note and attach with the GTG notes. That's it. And after that, no need of reading that TOG again. But you have to keep all the screenshots, all the things of charts of TOG, the tables of TOGs. Like if you see in GTG, there is always appendix at the end. So the flow chart in the GTG, the appendix at the end is really, really important. So most of the question come from there. So you have to have gathering that everything module wise, keeping the things module wise. Keep the things module wise always, all your notes, all your charts, all your things in one place so that at the end you will be able to revise it in a good way in your last month of exam. So this is very important. The appendix, the flow charts, always most of the question come from there. The same way for talks, whatever the charts and the things which they have given in a highlighted way is more important. So this is how you have to read the talk. Not all. Uh, some need only one reading. Some need 2 reading because that is the only source. Like this will need 2 reading because this is the only source. This need 1 reading just to know what is new. And this is what is new topic. So you can give it a read. So like that. So now how to prepare and how to go for your success. As I told you, first 2 to 3 months, your first reading should finish. Then last 2 to 3 months, total preparation time will take like 6 to 7 months. For the one who are starting from A to Z, who are starting from A and going to Z, then 6 to 7 months is a good time. So first 2 to 3 months, you will read the guideline, make your notes. The second 2 to 3 months, you are going to revise it at least 2 times with the question solving. All the time it will be with the question solving. So you get to know which lines of GTG are important, how the questions are formulated from that line. So question solving is not to get some new knowledge. It is to understand which line of GTG are important and retrospectively you can remember better. So that's why you should solve question from day 1 till the end, other than the last 1 month where you should focus on recall questions, where basically you have to focus on recall topic, not the question. Because topic brush up, recall topic brush up is what is important. And 30 to 40% of the exam questions are from the same topic and even more. Last month before exam, you shouldn't read anything new. No need. Whatever you have read till now, remembering that is enough. No need of reading something new and getting distressed, and you don't know if it will come in the exam, and that will decrease your morale, that you cannot revise what you already did so much of hard work, make your notes, you cannot revise because you have to read new things. No, complete no, no. Last month, no new reading for sure. Whatever you have done till now, you are going to revise in the last month peacefully. Because whatever you have done till now is what you have to produce in the exam. You don't have to score 100%. Please keep it in mind. It's a norm-based exam. You have to get 60 to 70% to pass the exam and get through it. So there is a scope. There is some scope of not panicking at the end, because you already have done the hard work in the last 6 months. So last month before exam, no new reading. Last week before exam, you should be just relaxed, lying down on the bed. If you have taken leave from your workplace or whatsoever, just simply read what you remember well and revise the charts. That's it. Because at the this week is to make yourself confident, not to make yourself distressed. Whatever you have done here is going to lead you success. So this week is just to relax yourself, just to revise things which are really, really important, and you should see it once. So please don't get stressed in the last week, and please don't read any new thing in the last month is what is must. Now, key to success, if you see a little effort each day. Yes, this is an exam. It's really challenging, and we have decided to give it with all our commitment. So it's really difficult because all our commitments are there. Then we have to read also. We have to take care of family. We have to take care of our profession. So all in all, it adds up to the stress. So it's important that every day you put little effort. You have to give your hard work. You have to do right prioritization, smart work. You have to be dedicated. You have to be determined. You have to be consistent. You have to do a focused, targeted approach. You have to break and accelerate, because continuously you cannot keep a pace for 6 months, right? So you need breaks in between so that you can accelerate after that. You have to do a group study, because if you see the teaching method, group study help you in 50% remembrance, and if you single study, only 10%, maximum 20%. So group study is something which increase your remembrance, and you will remember it for a longer time whenever you discuss. So you can discuss question in the group. That way it will help. Daily discussion is really, really important with right guidance, because sometimes the book's answers are wrong. So we are not doing books to gain some new knowledge. We are doing books to remember the guideline lines. So don't get worried about the wrong answer. So if you get the right guidance, you will be able to rule out that questions. That's why we solve the question in the group, in the free Telegram group. So you get to know which are wrong, so you can leave it. If everybody decide, yes, this is wrong, you are confident about it, and you don't get worried, and you don't waste your time on the wrong questions or wrong answer. So please be careful that discussion is important, but right guidance is also important. Right schedule is very important, because until unless you have a schedule or target, your speed will be low, your outcome will be poor. So having a schedule and strictly following the schedule is really, really important. And at least 3 revisions are must. Question practice are must. Balance of reading and question solving, I already emphasized that it's important. So these are the key to success for this exam. You have to have a dedication, and you have to have a dedicated guidance. Both way it works. Actually, I started first. I will tell you my story. I finished my MRCOG. I was very elated and happy. This is my 7th batch starting now for the MRCOG now. And I started as a free group, thinking that I will guide the students, help the students, make their life easier, like that. So I started the free group. I started teaching free. I started giving free lectures and all that. Then I realized that the syllabus is too vast. And if I just give ectopically 1 or 2 lectures, it is not going to work. It has to be in more organized manner. So to do it in more organized manner, to cover things in a beautiful way with a beautiful presentation, then I started the course. And believe me, every other day making me more and more happier. And the rewards is students' word, which make me happier. So I'm so passionate about teaching that it really gives me an immense pleasure that I'm able to help some students, and they feel good about this exam now. They are not feeling stressed out about this exam now. So that is what the real success for me. Yes, so sometimes you get confused how much study, 3 months or 6 months. Still, some of you might be confused. Shall I give September exam? Shall I give Jan exam? Because still, when we did the survey, some students are telling that I don't know which exam I should go. I'm not decided yet. So please try to understand the time is running. So if you have thought that I want to give MRCOG, you have to decide a deadline for yourself, because until unless you have a deadline you will never finish, right? So you have to have a deadline and you should start it. Until unless you start you will not be able to finish. So both ways you should start. This is the right time to start. Now, to go for 3 months or 6 months, I already did a YouTube video on that. You can go through that in detail, but just a brief idea about, you should anticipate the time that when you will be ready for the exam. Like if you have already given a read earlier, if you have already given exam earlier, you can brush up again in 3 months. But if you are starting now, first time you are opening the GTG, then 3 months is not going to be enough, because you don't want to give the exam in hush push. You want to give the exam with confidence. So you have to have at least 3 to 4 revisions. So 6 months is what a good time for you to start and end. But don't think that after that, at the end of 6 months, I'm feeling not confident. Shall I give or not? No, you are ready. 6 months is a fair good time to prepare yourself, until unless because of some personal professional commitment in between you lost for a longer time. Because little time there is a scope. You can take a break of little time in this preparation period. So that is the benefit, that you have an adequate time in between, you have time for breaks, and at the end you are very confident because you have given enough read and enough revision. So this is how you should think that when you should give the exam, because right start at right time in the right manner is most important. And when you give exam, you should be ready and confident. So choose wisely that which exam you should give, but start working from now, because whichever exam you want to give, this is the right time to start. You have no day to waste. Believe me, when you start studying, you will understand that every day is so precious. Why I wasted earlier so many days thinking which exam to give. I should have started and read at least some guideline. So at least every day one guideline you should read. Please don't waste your time, because at the end, if it is too longer, you lose interest, right? Means if it's too longer, you cannot keep the pace. You lose interest. So you should keep it shorter also. It's not like you forever go on and on and on. So you should keep it shorter and more focused also. But sometimes, yes, if you have something, you can delay it, delay the exam. That's acceptable totally. But whenever you give the exam, you should feel that you have done enough to give the exam. Failure in this exam is not uncommon, and don't be disheartened of that, because as I told you, our stories, everybody's stories is different and everybody is having different challenges. So learn from it and try again is what the motto for this exam, because this exam is really really difficult. Believe me, sometimes when I see the question still, I feel, oh god, from where they get so much brain to make question from such particular point. So they are really really intelligent people, and their exam is really really second most difficult exam in the world. So pat your back that you attempted it, and by every attempt you're learning something. Your clinical practice is improving. So it's not only the passing of exam, ultimately you are becoming a better clinician, and you're learning something or the other every day, which gives you satisfaction. So don't judge it by your outcome of exam, judge it by your learning, how much you have learned from your preparation and how much it has helped you in your practice. So that will be the reward. Even if you don't pass the exam, you can pass it next attempt, and surely you will pass it if you are dedicated enough for this. So don't worry about that, and keep trying and keep practicing, because winner don't do things different, but they do things differently. So this is what you have to do. Keep doing, and one fine day you will come out with flying colors. Now, the way of preparation, it could be self-study, it could be group study, or it could be with the courses, right? So why self-study means you will be doing single study. So yes, you can do that, but you have to be a highly motivated person who can do their preparation in a motivated manner for 6 months. So, or 3 months, whatsoever. So you should be really a motivated person. Group study means, as I told you, in group you can help each other, and that way it will be more easier and smoother for you. Professional coaching means the courses. Yes, courses are going to help you because somebody is there for every day to push you. So because we are committed everywhere and our brain we are pulling everywhere, sometimes we lost track. So this way, this coaching, you get a schedule, you have every day target, you have lectures, you have mock tests. So all in all, this is going to keep you busy and keep you involved and engaged with your preparation. So you will not lose track, as well as you have a big group to study. So each other you can help. So this is more organized way of study, more easier way of study. But I will say that it will be more pleasurable. The learning will be more pleasurable. The path will be more smoother. The path will be shorter, definitely, because it increases the probability of your success, because mentor will be keep holding your hand till you succeed. So all in all, it's more pleasurable and more shorter than if you try with self and group study. So the choice is yours. You can choose whatever you like. It's not like anything is wrong or anything is right. But yes, you have to decide for your own self that do you want it in a stressful manner? Do you want it how much stress you can take with your busy schedule and all that, and accordingly by risk and benefit analysis you can decide which path suits you well and you should choose that. Now if you see some of our crash course students review, if you see wish I had joined the course bit early, because once you get it in an organized way you feel that this is the best way of learning, as well as you feel confident about solving emqs. They wrote that little disheartened that I didn't join earlier. So I didn't put the name because I don't want to flash their name, but you know how the organized way, the nice presentation make your life easier. So this is how sometimes you feel at the end. Now, how our course, our AIMMRCOG course and any course can help you is monthly and daily schedule. You get the schedule, you get the notes, you get the material in advance. So what happens, you have the all the talks, all the everything with you in the beginning, so you don't have to search here and there and waste your time. You get the notes, so half of the job is done, you only have to memorize it. And you have the schedule, you have the target, so you are going to fulfill it. You will do get a group to do the study. You can revise at your convenience as many time as you want, because you will have the recording, you can listen to it as many time as you want. You will be able to keep a balance of reading and question solving by daily quizzes and mocks and everything. Question and answer session, EMQ sessions are really helpful, and the mock exam at the end to judge yourself. Now, I'll tell you what we did, what AMMRCOG did in a different manner in their course. So I will tell you what we did is we introduced different things, like we introduced exclusive EMQ sessions. Believe me, students are really, really happy about that, because that is the most difficult part. We introduce talk teaching in the session itself. So if I give you a note, I give you a summary of talk and you read it, it's a very troublesome thing, means reading what is important, how much to remember. But if you listen to it with the notes, it's very easy. So we started teaching talks in the sessions, almost more than 100, and even if I include YouTube videos, it will be more than 125 talks which we have covered in a beautiful manner with the beautiful slides. If you see my YouTube channel, you will be able to see how the talks have become like cakewalk for students. So we introduce talk teaching, we introduce EMQ sessions. So that way the students are really feeling happy and confident about their preparation. I will just show you some feedbacks which are really close to my heart. This is the schedule, how you get the schedule, you get your session date, you get the EMQ session. So these all make your confidence higher. This is our course feature for the mega course. If you see regular, we introduced the free crash course with the mega course. Yes, we introduced that. Why we are giving two courses at one course price is because we want to see you succeed. It's not like it's not like I will just give you a course and then leave you at the end. So because you're starting so early, 7 months starting from now. So at the end you need a brush up. So crash course is really good. It helps you in brushing up at the end and boosting your confidence. There are many sessions which covers everything extensively. More than 100 talks are covered in session, and even I will say more than 125 now. And there are separate classes for difficult topics. There are mocks at the end to judge you, and there are revision sessions, flashcard. So all in all, it helps you really to feel yourself confident before exam. This is our exclusive EMQ session feedback. If you see, students are really happy and they feel it is clear concept. Uh, they will choose the course million times. So these all are the encouraging words they recommend to their friends. These are the words which tells us that we are doing the right thing for them. By one question, we can revise the topic. So this is how the recall works, that by one question, you will revise that topics. These are our students' feedback who have attended other mentors also. So this is what they have to say about MMRCOG. They have attended other mentors, but they are really, really happy with us. So this is really a morale boosting thing. This is really a rewarding thing. And today is this message I got from one of the students, and really it made my day. So you are one of the best mentor, not only teaching, but encouraging us also. So motivation is what you need every day. So this is really a good feeling at the end by getting all these feedbacks. These are our talk sessions feedback, that how talk is easier for them now, like exhaustive talks of infertility, gynecology, post-operative module, oncology, maternal medicine, endless talks, antenatal. So this is how you get everything about talk in one place. This is our uh, website where you can visit, you can see our testimonial, what students says for us, free resources where you can learn from that, courses offered for part 2. And this is a free session registration link. So if you are interested, you can join this. This is on 31st on EMQ and recall session. So hopefully it will help you in understanding how to solve the EMQs. You can visit our website and check us on the website. Now, this is the mocks. The mocks which we gave the mini mock, free mini mock for all the students. This is also there in the course section. You still have the free mini mock if you want to attempt for that. So free mini mock when we gave, we got to know the students. If you see, different students are performing differently. So if you see, most of the students are performing in this range. Some are very low. Maybe they just took it as a trial and they have not been prepared for the exam. They just want to see. And some has exceptionally. This is one student who has done really exceptionally well, and I really thanked him. I really appreciated him, and the response he gave really made my day. So this is really, really important. If you are doing well, also it gives immense pleasure to me that you are able to understand things and topics so well. So this is how we judge how the students are doing. Students also judge themselves, which question they are doing wrong, which are right. So accordingly, they also get an idea, and we also get an idea that which question most of them are doing wrong. Like this question 7 of mini mock, everybody is doing wrong. Only 5 students, means 30% did it right. So we know that this concept still not clear for the students. Still they are weak in this. So we focus on that area. So that way it's a win-win situation for everybody, and it helps us in improving our knowledge. So this is how the mocks works. Now this is our course, regular course and mega course. Both are starting from 2nd of June. The live session is starting on 2nd of June. The September is 4-month regular course. Early bird is 299. Early bird ending on 31st of May. The mega course is 7-month course and free crash course. As I told you, this has been introduced by us to boost your success, and the early bird is 399. You can even contact us for group discount and installment option, and this is the contact number and the email ID to contact us. I already told you the features. These are the features of regular course, and these are the features of mega course. This for July candidate, we have the recall course. These are the feature, last 3 years recall, important topic revision, flashcard at the end. So this is how it helps. As I told you, you don't have to solve the recall question. You have to solve the recall topic, kill the recall topic. So that way it will help. This is the module plan. You can check all this plan in the website. This is a module plan where if you feel one module or 2 module is only difficult for me, in that case, you can personalize your study. And if you need help, you can choose this. There are mock plans, so you can choose that. This final mock will be in the 2nd week of June, where we will be doing just like exam, first OBS, then 2nd gynecology, and 1 hour break. So it will be like ideal exam scenario. So if anybody wants a practice like that, you can contact for the final mock thing. Now, then this is newly introduced by us for to help the student. This is the scholarship program for candidate who secure more than 75% in part 1. They can contact us if they want to join our course, and there is scholarship program for them, and they will get the courses at further discounted price. So that will be helpful for them. And if anybody has any issues with the finances, anybody wants to join MMRCOG, they are most welcome. We are not running behind the finances, we are running behind the success. So please don't hesitate if you have any if you need any help, I'm always ready to help you all and give you in an organized manner the things. So definitely it will be a pleasure for us if anybody will get benefited by us. For all student, it is 50% off straight away from the fee. So anybody, all student want to join, they can do that. You can contact at this number for that. And there is a special offer for students who are attending today. They can join the course for $25 less. Means you can join for $275 and $375 who are attending today. So that will be a gesture from our side for your time today. Okay, so why us? Why MMRCOG? You must have seen that by feedback that the main thing is quality material in simplified manner. Because if it is simple, then only you can remember it. Small group teaching, if it is small, then only you can get personalized care one by one. Otherwise, in a big group, you get lost. Some students are really shy, believe me. And when they come to us and they really feel happy that they get personal attention because it's a small group. We never teach in big group because I don't want to don't even know the name of students and teach them. No, I believe in making them a family. I'm like their family. So I'm always available 24/7 assistance for them if they feel morally down sometimes, whatever may be the reason. So I always try to motivate them. Daily quizzes are there to help you, constant motivation to solve the question because this is where most of us are lacking. Constant motivation you need for this challenging thing, and perfect balance of question solving and reading is what you need to succeed. So this all already reflected in the feedback. You must have noticed that. So start with us, achieve with us, and become a part of AIMMRCOG family because we are really a big family. We are not like just running courses and just trying to doing the half-hearted job. We want to give you the wholesome thing. We want to give you the satisfaction of preparing, satisfaction of reading, satisfaction of confidence at the end of preparing with us. So that's it. Thank you all for your patient listening. So now we will start our actual teaching. This is all just to orient you so that you all feel confident about how to prepare. This was the purpose of this. And now I have made the cervical cerclage guideline June 2022. They have mentioned June 2022, but it has come in February. So this one, if you read it, it's a big guideline. Believe me, it's a big guideline. But most of the things given in the guideline is already there. Already we know it from the previous, only few changes in the guideline. Otherwise, all the things like earlier there was a talk and there was a guideline and there was a preterm guideline. So all inclusive, whatever you will make the notes, everything now they have given in one place. So everything they have given in one place, so it's easier now for you because everything you get in one place and now you no more need to read the talks because already you have everything has been given you. So that way it helps. So here I have shown you how you can make your concise and crisp notes. So let us see that. Points to remember. As I told you, the highlighted point, the boxes, the appendix are always important in the guideline, right? So if you see in cervical cerclage guideline, what they have written, always they will talk about, now I will tell you how to read in between the lines in the guideline. I will tell you that. Singleton pregnancy. So please be careful, it is not for twins because in question sometimes they will give you twin, then this guideline doesn't apply. So singleton pregnancy and history indicated cerclage will be 3 or more previous preterm. So 3 or more, so never it will be 2. 3 or more. So always equal to more, always remember because it's difficult otherwise. So always write in your notes equal to more than, only less than, whatever. So if you don't write that, they are always confusing you on that in exam. If they write more than, like in shoulder dystocia, they have written more than 4.5 kg, more than 30 BMI. While in NICE of diabetes, it's different, more than equal to. Like in VT guidelines, somewhere more than equal to, somewhere more. So be careful about this. If you are not, like in ectopic pregnancy, you will have more than equal to, less, whatsoever. So please be careful about this. Otherwise, the answers will be wrong. So singleton pregnancy, 3 or more previous preterm, you will do history indicated cerclage. Yes, history indicated cerclage for 3 or more. Don't forget that. Make your notes. Write in one short sentence, 3 or more previous preterm, I'm going to do history indicated cerclage. So write it. Then what you will do, when you will do ultrasound indicated cerclage. Ultrasound indicated cerclage means the word itself is telling ultrasound is showing the short cervix, right? So how, why you will do the ultrasound in first place? Why you will do the ultrasound and check the cervical length in first place? So you will do that if there is history of spontaneous second trimestral loss or preterm birth. If there is previous preterm birth less than 34 weeks, previous second trimestral loss, only single, even if only single loss, you are going to do the surveillance by ultrasound. So you will do TVS, you will look for cervical length from 16 weeks onward. And in guideline, they have even written that in one page that you can do it 14 weeks onward. So, but most of the places in NICE also it is written 16. And here also, ultimately they have written you have to monitor from 16. So 16 weeks onwards, you are going to do 2 to 4 weekly scan. Earlier it was 2 weekly in NICE. Here they have written 2 to 4 weekly. So that is the difference. That is the new thing. So 2 to 4 weekly you have to do from 16 weeks till 24 weeks. This is how you are going to monitor a patient who has history of second trimestral loss or preterm birth, even single. So you will do the ultrasound monitoring and then whose cervix remain greater than 25 mm, no need of doing anything. So greater than 25, no need of doing anything means 25 or less, you are going to put the cerclage. So 25 or less is important. Please remember it. 25 or less, you are going to put the cerclage. And then the another thing, if there is no history of any losses or any preterm birth, and in ultrasound you find incidentally low length of cervix, what you will do? Anybody?
No need to put the circle.
So you will not do the cerclage. So can you do anything, or you just tell the women that, my dear, your cervix is short, but I'm not going to do anything. Will it be a good idea?
Progesterone can be used, ma'am.
Yes, very good. So because now, see, you have to understand that intervention is intervention ultimately, and it could have a side effect. Like if you do circular, there could be some side effect. It's a surgery ultimately. So you will tell her that we have incidentally found your cervix short, but you have no history, no high risk. But still, there is another catch. There is no high risk for preterm. Not only the history. In the new guideline, they have mentioned no high risk for preterm birth. So you should remember all the high risk factor for preterm birth. If there is no high risk factor for preterm birth, and there is no previous history, and incidentally you have found a short cervix, then you should give, you can give her, you can consider. In NICE, they have written you can consider vaginal progesterone. So you can consider vaginal progesterone for them. So this is how they give you an exam. They will give you an EMQ. In one, they will write you 3 or more previous losses. In one, they will write you 1 previous loss. And in one, they will write you no loss at all. And incidental finding of short cervix, what to do. So history indicated cerclage, ultrasound indicated cerclage, and vaginal progesterone will be your answer. So this is how you'll solve your EMQ. As I told you, singleton is very important word. The risk of preterm is very important word. And missing here, this is reading in between the line. When you read the guideline, you get to know that low risk of preterm means you can leave them. If they are high risk of preterm and you found incidental short cervix, then you have to discuss with them. You can consider. So that is important. Now, singleton pregnancy, no other risk factor. Insertion is not recommended. As I told you already, no other risk factor, no need of cerclage. Now, what you will do if there is previous unsuccessful cerclage, if previous unsuccessful transvaginal cerclage, how now here I will tell you what is the catch in between, how in exam they confuse you. Previous unsuccessful transvaginal cerclage means you have to understand, was it a good quality cerclage? Means was it an elective or an emergency? If you have done in an emergency, the chances of failure will be more. So if you have done in an emergency, next time you will do vaginal only, but as an elective. If you have done in an elective as a McDonald's, because McDonald's is lower than Shirodkar, they want you to put the cerclage as high as possible. So Shirodkar is better than McDonald's. So if they give you McDonald's, your next choice will be Shirodkar. If they did an emergency, your next choice will be elective transvaginal. If they give you McDonald's, your next choice will be Shirodkar cerclage. If that will fail, then only you will go for abdominal. So this is how they confuse you in exam. This is how you have to read in between the line in the guideline. Believe me, and this is not with the talk. So at least in the talk, you have to read only what is written in the article. So that way TOG is easier and stress reliever basically, because you can just read it as an article to learn something. Now, emergency cerclage may delay birth by an average of 34 days. This is from the beginning. This is nothing new knowledge. This is from the beginning, earlier cerclage GTG also. So yes, it will delay by 34 days. So they might ask you in SBA that how many days it will delay and how much reduction in the chance of birth before. Which one you want me to repeat? VG. Can you identify yourself, my dear? What's your name? You can open your mic. I don't mind that if you want to speak something. Which is your doubt so that I can help you with that. Vaishnavi, my dear, what is your doubt? You can message me, Shirodkar McDonald. Okay. So Mcdonald basically is putting off cerclage as high as possible, means whatever cervix is visible, you want to put as high as possible. But in Shirodkar, you dissect the bladder and take the bladder up and you put exactly you want to put at the isthmus, means you will put at the level of internal os. So Shirodkar is more promising. They say that you should put it as high as practically possible. So if you have done Mcdonald and it has failed, there is a scope of improvement by Shirodkar. So that's why they say that if a failed Mcdonald and there is option of Shirodkar, you will choose Shirodkar, not directly you will jump on transabdominal. So this is what the point I wanted to tell. Clear now? Okay, good. Then what else they can ask you? Emergency cerclage, how much it will delay the delivery time? So 34 days average, and how much twofold reduction in the chance of birth before 34 weeks. So sometimes they will ask you how much reduction in the chance of birth before 34 weeks. So it is twofold reduction. So both points are important. And as I told you, choice of cerclage depend upon the technique you know. If you know Mcdonald and you do Mcdonald, nobody is going to tell you that it is wrong. You will do Mcdonald and most of the time it will work. But if it fails, then your second choice will not be abdominal, but Shirodkar. Now, in abdominal also, which one to go, laparoscopy or abdominal? So in the guideline, they've clearly mentioned that you can go for laparoscopy because it is safer, less side effect of laparoscopy, means the easy recovery and all that point of laparoscopy. And it's well known now. Earlier, they wrote that if you know laparoscopy, you will do it in the talk earlier. But now in the guideline, because it's now quite a long time, more than 5-6 years, the talk. So now they have written that laparoscopy is recommended. So you will do laparoscopy. Now, other point they ask you is you will do interval or in pregnancy. So what is your advice about that? Anybody?
Ma'am, interval,
Yes.
ma'am.
Why interval? What do you mean by interval? When you will do the interval? At what weeks of gestation?
Before she gets pregnant, ma'am.
Very good. So at what weeks of gestation you will do it? Very good.
Ma'am, before she gets pregnant, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, right. Before she gets pregnant, one thing. And the other, if you do in pregnancy, at what weeks you will do abdominal?
11 weeks, ma'am.
11 weeks. Very good. So if you do it 11 to 14, Dr. Shilpa, because 14 will be little late only. You don't want to wait. Whenever, see, if a history indicated cerclage, you are going to do it between 11 to 14. Don't forget that. This is the time to do because you don't want to take any risk. Once you enter into second trimester, you want to do it. So that's why history indicated will always be 11 to 14 weeks, while ultrasound indicated will be when you detect it, like at 16 week, 18 week or whatsoever. So it will be later, but this will be 11 to 14 weeks. The same way the interval cerclage or abdominal cerclage when you do in the pregnancy, it will be 11 to 14 weeks. So don't forget that because sometimes they will confuse you on weeks also. In EMQ, they can confuse you on anything. So please be prepared for your knowledge. Okay. Now, as I told you, why I'm talking all this, because in option they will give you interval, they will give you in pregnancy, they will give you abdominal, they will give you laparoscopy. So you should know that your first choice will be interval laparoscopy. Interval laparoscopy means before pregnancy. If you do it before pregnancy, doing surgery in pregnant is difficult because of more vascularization and everything. So if you do it beforehand, no harm. Why not do it beforehand? When you're going to do it abdominal or laparoscopically, do it beforehand before she's pregnant. Better. You will not disturb the pregnancy. It will not be more vascular. So it's better rather than doing it in pregnancy between 11 to 14 weeks. So that is the thing you should remember. And these are really, believe me, these are the most confusing EMQ. And even in recall, we don't able to understand what they are recalling, what they gave in the exam. So this principle should be crystal clear in your mind. And definitely you will get EMQ from this in this exam, because whenever a new guideline comes, this is not a new information. It is only a new guideline in a more clear manner. Already the information is there with you with the NICE and previous guidelines. So they will give you EMQ on this for sure. They will give you SBA from this guideline in July exam for sure, because this is new. Always they like to put new things in the exam. Now, if you see how to make summary, as I told you, how to make summary is very important. So I just made this summary of cervical cerclage. I'm not teaching you all the things. How to make the summary is our main agenda today. So if you see history indicated cerclage, I already told you 11 to 14 weeks. USG indicated if she has a history of loss, you will monitor the cervix. If it is 25 or less, please remember it, not more than 25, equal or less, you are going to give the cerclage. Now, what is rescue cerclage? Ultrasound indicated 16 to 24 weeks. Rescue cerclage you can do up till 27 plus 6 weeks. Please be careful. 27 plus 6 weeks means not 28. So if in question they will give you 28 weeks, you are not going to put cerclage. For 27 plus 6, you will put. So please be clear. This weeks of gestation, days of gestation are very important. Then they write in the guideline, if it is more than 4 centimeter dilated or prolapsed membrane, the success is less. So please be careful about this point, because sometime in the question, they will give you more than 4 centimeter dilated or prolapsed membrane. So in that situation, that might not be the ideal to put the rescue cerclage. So just look for the contraindication of cerclage whenever you are choosing cerclage as your answer. Whenever you are choosing cerclage as an answer, always look for the contraindication of cerclage in the question scenario, because always in the EMQ, one will be contraindication of cerclage, because they want to know, do you know or not, that when you will not put cerclage, what is the contraindication? So definitely one scenario will be when you will not put it because of the contraindication. So be careful about that point. Now, ultrasound indicated cerclage, they say that membrane is not exposed to the vagina. And rescue cerclage, the definition is membrane is exposed to the vagina. Means cervical dilatation and membrane is exposed. Here, cervix could be short, maybe 1 centimeter or whatsoever, but membrane is not exposed. So that is the difference between rescue and ultrasound indicated cerclage. Now, in ultrasound indicated cerclage is not recommended. When it is not recommended is also important for funneling. This is also very important recall questions, even they ask you again and again, because sometimes we feel that whenever there is a funneling of the cervix, there is a risk. So why not do the cerclage? So we even sometimes in our clinical practice, we might be doing. But for this exam, please, please, please keep your all practical and clinical knowledge on one side and follow the guideline religiously. Whatever they have written, they give you an exam that, and you should follow what they wrote in their guideline, not what you do in your clinical practice. So separate both the knowledges, then only you will be able to handle it. So it is not recommended for funneling of cervix, and this could be a very important SBA, that they will give you a scenario of funneling of cervix and ask you what you will do. So you will not do cerclage for her. Please be clear about that. Now, the insertion of history or ultrasound indicated cerclage in women in multiple pregnancy is not recommended. As I told you, we all talked about singleton pregnancy. So don't think that multiple pregnancy will be the same rule. So in multiple pregnancy, all this criteria doesn't apply. So please be clear about that, because sometimes in options, they will give you that and confuse you. Sometimes in a scenario, they will give you a multiple pregnancy and you will apply your knowledge of all this, which you remembered with so much difficulty, and ultimately your answer will be long. So multiple pregnancy, funneling of cervix, these are not for this application of your knowledge. So remember that. Now, what is women at high risk? Women at high risk means whoever is at high risk of preterm birth, right? So if they have previous preterm second trimestral loss, if they have previous PPROM, if they have previous cerclage, if they have no uterine variant like bicornuate uterus and all has more chances of weak cervix, if they have intrauterine adhesion, if they have history of trachelectomy, these are all high risk women. So these are the women you will do the ultrasound guided monitoring for them between 16 to 24 weeks. These are the only women where you are going to do between 16 to 24 weeks. Please be clear about this. If in the question they will give you one of these, then only you will choose this. This is the new one. This is the new thing they have introduced. One they have introduced is intermediate risk. So this is the new thing they have introduced. So between 16 to 24 weeks, you will do the scan TVS for the cervical length every 2 to 4 weeks. In the NICE, you will see every 2 weeks. Now in the GTG, they have mentioned 2 to 4 weeks and between 16 to 24 weeks. So this is what you have to follow because whenever there is dilemma between NICE and GTG, always you will choose GTG over NICE. GTG is always your first source and then NICE because NICE is more generalized guideline. GTG is specific to OB-GYN. So now you'll follow this every 2 to 4 weeks between 16 to 24 weeks for high risk. The new thing is intermediate risk. New things is high risk also because they have categorized into two now. Earlier in NICE preterm, you had only one criteria. Now here they have separated it in two, high risk and intermediate risk. So high risk are this and who are intermediate risk? Intermediate risk are women who have history of previous full dilatation CS. This was never mentioned anywhere till now. LEDs earlier was high risk. Now LEDs is in intermediate risk. So they will definitely make an SBA saying that women has undergone LEDs and now what to do for her preterm birth chances or whatsoever. Like in trachelectomy, if you see preterm chances is 20 to 30%. So it's high risk. Can you please repeat the first two points to remember? Which 2 points, my dear? Previous slides. Previous slide. Which one? If you can open your mic, it will be easier. We can listen to your beautiful voice also, and we will reach to the target quickly. Don't be hesitant. Yes, come on.
First 2 points, madam.
Which one? These two?
Yeah, yes, madam. I
Means
got
what you
lost.
want to know? History indicated and ultrasound indicated
Yes,
cerclage, you mean?
yes, madam. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, my dear, sure. So history indicated when 3 or more losses, ultrasound indicated when even single loss, you are going to monitor by ultrasound 16 to 24 weeks, every 2 to 4 weeks. And then according to the length of cervix, you are going to offer them cerclage. So this is the difference, 3 or more and 1 or more losses. So you are going to monitor them. So these are the two difference of history and ultrasound indicated. Clear, my dear, clear to you? History indicated 3 or more. Ultrasound indicated 1 previous loss of preterm, and you're going to monitor them by scan for the length. If it is less than equal to 25 mm, you're going to do the cerclage. Okay, so we discussed history indicated, ultrasound indicated, rescue cerclage. We discussed that in funneling and multiple pregnancy, this is not going to apply. We saw that in high risk, we are going to monitor every 2 to 4 weeks between 16 to 24 weeks. And the new thing is the two categories, high risk and intermediate. In intermediate, it's full dilatation CS, one thing, and LEDs with a depth greater than 1 cm. Please be careful. They will give you a question, LEDs with an excision depth of 7 mm. In that case, she is not at more risk of preterm. You will not monitor her. If more than 1 cm only, you will monitor. If more than one procedure means more than one LEDs, you are going to monitor. If cone biopsy, you are going to monitor. And how much you will monitor? You are not going to monitor her every 2 to 4 weeks. Only one scan between 18 to 22 weeks. Please be careful about this. Because in exam, earlier in NICE, it was for LEDs you are going to monitor. But here they say that in this situation, only one scan between 18 to 22 weeks. These are all evidence-based according to the studies. So please don't mistake it because they can always make an SBA from here They can always make EMQs from these two scenarios, intermediate risk and high risk, how you'll follow. And this full dilatation CS is really a new thing in the preterm. And LEDs also, they have given now 3 category: greater than 1 cm, more than 1 procedure, and cone biopsy. So remember each word here, because this is a potential question in the exam. So this is how, when you read the guideline, you get to know what could come as a question in the exam, because they give you very prominently. They give you the differences. Whenever they give you the differences, it is always the EMQ question. So be careful. Now, contraindication to cerclage, as I told you, always there will be one question on contraindication. So you should remember, if there is active preterm labor means more than 4 centimeter dilatation and progressive dilatation, regular contraction. So active preterm, definitely no benefit. If in active preterm, even if you put the cerclage, cervix will get tear or whatsoever. She's already in labor. No point in putting cerclage for her. So no need. If there is infection, no need, because if infection, you want to go naturally. If you will avoid an chorioamnionitis to deliver, it will lead to sepsis. You don't want to harm the women's health. You want to save her health. So chorioamnionitis, you are not going to do cerclage. Active labor, you are not going to do. Continued bleeding, you are not going to do, because bleeding means there could be anything. Even if you try to stop bleeding, the bleeding, you will do cerclage and bleeding will be inside. You will not know how much she is bleeding. She will come to you collapsed. So don't risk the women's health because you want to save the child or you want to save the pregnancy. So always women's safety first. Active labor, infection, bleeding, rupture of membrane, you are not going to do cerclage. As I told you, always see in the scenario if there is any contraindication to cerclage before choosing cerclage as your answer. If fetal compromise like CTG abnormality, you are not going to do the cerclage. If lethal fetal defect like anencephaly, no benefit. If fetal death, no benefit, right? So this anyways is clear. If fetal compromise is clear. If PPROM, you should remember always, because they will give you just like she presented to you with leaking, and you will ignore that fact. While you are reading the long scenario, sometimes you ignore the fact of previous point. So reading the question is an art, believe me. Reading the question is very important. Even if you have all the knowledge of guideline, your memory is very sharp. Then also, if you don't read the question correctly, you don't gather the point of question correctly, you will not be able to solve it right, and you will make it wrong. So question reading is very, very important. That's why we do the questions at the end of always our session. Why we do that? So that the student understand how to read the question. Unless you don't read it rightly, you're not going to answer it rightly for sure, even if you remember all the rules. So important. As I told you, you have to see all this before choosing cerclage. We already discussed vaginal versus abdominal. We already discussed how you will go stepwise manner in that. Now, preoperative investigation and counseling, definitely any procedure, you are going to counsel them what are the risk and benefit. So if you see in the counseling, you have to tell her that what they have given in the new guideline, that there is no increased risk of infection, bleeding, induction of labor, cesarean section, nothing. So it's a good thing, right? So that is what they have written, that cerclage is not going to increase all this risk. And preoperatively, you are going to do what you need preoperatively. Do you need? Yes, my dear, just let me finish this and then we'll go to previous. So preoperative investigation is CBC. Yes, you will do CBC, CRP. Sometimes you will do CRP for them if you feel that there is chance of infection. So they say that you will do CRP. Sometimes you will do amniocentesis to rule out infection. Why you will do all this? Because you are not allowed to put the cerclage in cases of infection. So some situation you might have to do, but routinely you are not going to do CBC. CBC, yes, the routines, the total count you are going to do before any surgery, the hemoglobin and CBC, but CRP, amniocentesis, all that only if you are suspecting there is infection in the amniotic cavity. So please be careful about that. If they give you such scenario, you will choose amniocentesis before choosing cerclage, because if there is infection, you are not going to do it. So it's important. So it's important when is the role of amniocentesis and when not. Because in exam, they will give you a scenario where you feel infection and you want to, they will give you an option of amniocentesis. So you will choose that before cerclage if you are suspecting infection in her. So preoperative investigation, be careful in that. In selected scenario, it could be CRP, it could be CRP more than 4 is dangerous. If it could be amniocentesis if you are suspecting chorioamnionitis. So this is important to rule out the contraindication. And counseling, I already told you. Now, who wanted to go to previous slide? What is your doubt, my dear? Yes, can you speak up? What is your doubt, my dear? No more doubt? Okay, good. Now, preoperatively, you will do the scan for sure because you want to rule out anomaly. You don't want to do cerclage for an anomalous baby. We saw lethal defect you're not going to do. So you'll do and scan CBC, CRP, amniocentesis if needed. And genital tract screening is not required routinely. My dear, here you will do every 2 to 4 weeks and here you will do only one scan. In intermediate risk, only one scan. Okay, so preoperatively, genital tract screening is not a routine. You're not going to take swabs for them routinely. You're not going to do amniocentesis routinely. You're not going to do CRP routinely. So all this, be careful, but scan is must. Scan is routine for everybody before cerclage because scan will tell you about the defect as well as it will help you in placenta, looking for placenta also. Then perioperatively, what all is needed? Tocolis is not needed, antibiotic not needed, anesthesia at the anesthesia, what anesthesia is their discretion, suture material is your discretion, the surgeon discretion. So they don't see anything specific and they don't write anything specific about it. So perioperatively, if they give you an option, you will give tocolysis wrong, give antibiotic wrong. Anesthesia, what anesthesia? Anesthetist will decide. What suture material? Surgeon will decide. They say that either you have to use a non-absorbable suture. So it could be merceline or it could be a braided suture. So both way it is fine. They say that both the sutures are equally effective and you cannot say which is better. So whatever you like, you can use. So perioperatively, there is nothing specific. So once you make in your notes, all these are no specific recommendation. It's done. Preoperatively, you will only do scan and this in specific situation if there is any suspicion. Post-operatively, you will not tell them to do a complete bed rest. Please remember this because you have done cerclage so that she can have a healthy regular pregnancy. She is not going to be bedridden after that. So no need of rest, no need of progesterone after that, no need of ultrasound monitoring of cervical length after that, no need of routine steroid after that. Nothing is needed. So post-operatively, no specific recommendation is what you have to remember. So this is how you'll make your summary. Now, after cerclage, when to deliver, when to remove the cerclage is the another point highlighted in the guidelines. So let's see it. When to remove the cerclage, 36 plus 1 to 37. Never ever choose 36. If they have written 36 plus 1 means it is 36 plus 1. So if they write you 36 weeks, you will tell her to come 36 plus 1 to remove. So 36 plus 1 to 37 you will remove. Sometimes like in trachelectomy and all, you have more chances of preterm also 20 to 30% as well as you want to remove the cerclage before means you want to do CS before she goes into labor. So in that scenario, you will not call her one time and remove the cerclage and then do CS another time. So better to remove it with the CS. So in trachelectomy where you do preterm CS, not preterm means late preterm CS, you will be removing the cerclage at the time of CS. So you won't call her again for another visit for cerclage removal. This is important. So this is the routine recommendation, but if you are planning pre-labor CS, then you will remove the cerclage at the time of CS. Then the another important point is PPROM between 24 to 34 weeks. This is also an old thing. It is nothing new. Earlier also it was there in the guideline, but again, this is an important SBA question. So remember it. 24 to 34 weeks if there is PPROM, rupture of membrane. In that case, you will delay the removal of cerclage for 2 days for the steroid to act. They say for the steroid to act if there is no infection, no labor. So if in the scenario they give you like a 30 weeks, she came to you, she has undergone cerclage, now rupture of membrane, she's not in labor and there is no sign of infection. In that case, you will wait for 2 days for at least two steroid to act because already there is a cerclage. So let us keep it for 2 days. This is what the funda behind that. If less than 24, you will not wait. If more than 34, you will not wait. So be careful. If they will give you 34 plus 1 week, you will not wait for 48 hours. If they will give you between 24 and 34 weeks, you will wait for 48 hours before removal of cerclage. This is very important and this is always an SBA questions. So please Be clear about this. Am I clear? This is the last slide. So see how the big guideline, only 3 slides, the summary has been done. So this is how you should concise yourself and make your own summaries, make your own notes. Clear? Clear to all? What's new point? Actually, not many new points. If you see, the new points are about all this, new points are about when to remove, and new points are about this intermediate risk, as I told you. High risk, intermediate, 2 category now. And then they have made things more clear to you by giving it in GTG rather than having scattered information here and there. Summary, my dear, abdominal cerclage you will do when the vaginal cerclage has failed, which has been done in ideal condition. Means it has been done electively. You have tried Shirokar after Mcdonald's. These are the 2 things where you have done it electively, not the emergency, and you have done it in the best way, like Shirokar, which is the most effective of vaginal. When these 2 things fail, then only you will go for abdominal. And in abdominal also you will go for laparoscopy interval 1. Clear now? Clear now, my dear? Okay, good. Okay, so that's it. So this is the GTG, the big GTG. Believe me, when it came, I thought, oh God, another new GTG for the exam going candidate. They will be really distressed. But when you read it, it's simple. And most of the things they wrote that their studies are going on and this and that. So whatever bold points they have written that are saying all the stories as well as some points here and there. So that which we have to remember. Okay, so let us now go through the, thank you, my dear Shilpa. Thank you so much. So let us now go for the question answer session of the talk. 2022 talk, volume 1, as we decided. We will do some question of talk SVA, how they make the SVA from talk, which is very important for exam, and definitely the recent talk they like to put in the exam. So some are the favorite talk, which always there will be a question, but some are the recent talk where they will ask you. Thank you, my dear Sadia. So let's start the question and answer session. This is how we read in our course sessions also. So somebody can read this question. Yes, my dear Vaishnavi, this is needed for July exam because this is not an old topic. This is not a new topic. I mean, already it's there in your syllabus, the cerclage. Nice cerclage you have followed till now. Now, whatever changes they have made, they can give you question from that. So this is important because sometimes the first volume of the talk is also like SBA of talk 2022 volume 1. They can give you an exam in July. So that's why both the talk, both the most important one, like cervical cancer and pregnancy and postcoital bleeding, I already covered in YouTube channel. If you want, you can. Yes, my dear. Regarding talk, also I'm telling that in the talk 2022, because in previous exams also they have given you, like in Jan exam, they have given you from the talk of last volume also. So for you, the second part, the second volume you needn't read, but the first volume, yes, the 2022 volume 1 you have to read. Read means the specific point, not all the things you can, because you cannot be so thorough in such a short time. But yes, you have to go through. So as I told you, 2 things I already covered in YouTube channel. If you want to take help, you can listen to the postcoital bleeding and cervical cancer in pregnancy, which are the most promising one in the first volume. So we are discussing that question only today. Yes, so anybody can read this for me. Any student who wants to read, please read. Reading by students is the most important thing because you get to know how they read and how much they're
I
extracting.
will read it, doctor. I will read.
Okay, go ahead, my dear.
What is the prevalence of cervical intraepithelial neoplasia and cancer among women with postcoital bleeding? It's like 5 to 18%.
Yes, though as I told you, the percentage are, every percentage remembering is difficult. But why I put this question? Because whenever you get a patient with postcoital bleeding, what comes in your mind first is cancer, right? You want to rule out cancer. Postcoital bleeding is a contact bleeding. So you want to rule out cancer, CIN and cancer. So you should have a rough idea how much it is related with CIN and cancer, so that whenever you are counseling your patient, you will tell them Postcoital bleeding is not always the cancer. Please be clear about this. And this is the percentage. This is the risk. Very good, Yasmin. I'm really happy that you could remember it. So the answer is C. So there is nothing, this is just a remembrance. So the answer is C, 3 to 18% is the risk of CIN. So don't think that all postcoital bleeding are cancer. It is only 3 to 18%. So just keep a rough idea. So approximately if you take an average, it will be coming 10%. 2 to 10% is a range. 3 to 18% is a range. So the answer is 3 to 18%. Why this? To keep in mind, even to improve your practice, to improve your counseling with the patient also. So these kind of things you can easily remember. You don't have to struggle with this because this is your general belief that postcoital bleeding is related to cancer. So how much? How much is what you should know. Now, yes, who wants to read this? Yes, come on, anybody can read.
May I?
Yes, go ahead, my dear.
A 21 years old woman is referred to the gynecological clinic with postpartum bleeding. Examination reveals a normal cervix. What investigation do you perform next? A. Cervical smear, chlamydia swab, colposcopy and biopsy, endometrial biopsy or hysteroscopy. Her age is 21 years, then chlamydia swab will be appropriate.
Yes, very good, my dear. So I want to ask you, in a case of postcoital bleeding, what are the 3 things you want to rule out? It's a contact
Uh,
bleeding. So you want to rule out
it's
what 3 things?
infection, neoplasia, and a foreign body.
Infection, neoplasia, and a foreign body. Nothing else?
Uh,
Ma'am,
Wait,
ma'am.
my dear. Let her speak, please. Let her speak, please. Let her give chance to think. Yes.
No, ma'am, at 21 years of age, foreign body will not be the option. Then infection, neoplasia, it can be benign or malignant, or some dermatosis like vulval or
Yes, there could be
like
many
trauma.
things.
Hmm,
Yes, you are very right
hmm,
that there could be many things. But
hmm,
usually, whatever in the everywhere they tell you, like intermenstrual bleeding, like postcoital bleeding, like with contraception you have unscheduled bleeding, all these things you have to rule out 3
hmm,
things. One is pregnancy,
hmm.
right? Pregnancy can have
Right.
contact bleeding. So one is
Hmm,
pregnancy, always in a reproductive age group pregnancy. Then the infection. This is the young women. So
hmm,
rightly, very rightly, you grabbed it
hmm,
at young women. So infection, yes, infection. And the
hmm,
third is smear to rule out cancer, right? But smear doesn't
hmm.
apply here because she's only 21-year-old. Smear is from
Yeah.
25
Hmm,
and more. So smear is out. So smear out. So colposcopy anyways, no question. Endometrial biopsy, there is no indication. Hysteroscopy, no indication. This is only mainly if postcoital bleeding with intermenstrual bleeding. This will not present purely as postcoital bleeding. The endometrial problem will present as the bleeding problem plus postcoital bleeding. So that will be clear in your mind when to choose that. So you're very rightly told that chlamydia swab is what you're going to do because she's 21-year-old and she's not a good candidate for smear because, and even for cervical screening, there is a YouTube recording if you want to go through the NHS CSP recording, and it is really good to understand how you do follow up and all that. So if you want, you can go through for your exam. So right, my dear, thank you. You did it wonderfully. So this is what you have to think about and this is what you have to do. Yes, who wants to read this? Actually, I can read it. You all can tell me the answer. What is the prevalence of postcoital bleeding?
It's 9%.
Yes, it's 9%. So this is just a number thing. This I gave just for you to understand how frequently you see it, how frequently it is associated with cervical cancer. Yes, who wants to read this? Yes, anyone wants to read this?
I will read.
Yes, go ahead, Dr. Gopal.
A 24-year-old woman
Next, Dr.
presented.
Revati.
A 24-year-old woman presented with postcoital bleeding. On speculum examination of the cervix was looking hypervascular with erosion and suspicious of cancer. All of the following are recommended investigations for her except Infection, pregnancy test, and colposcopic. We want to colposcopic and we will not do cervical screening also.
Yes,
So,
very good. Very good. You will not do cervical screening also, and you will not do colposcopy also here because she is less than 25 years,
25.
right? So very good. This
Yes.
I put just to confuse you, just to understand that how much you are remembering by the uh, things. Now, yes, this who wants to read this?
I'll read.
Hmm.
55-year-old postmenopausal women presented with postcoital bleeding. On speculum examination, cervical polyp noted. Which of the following investigation is not recommended for her? TVS we will do. Hysteroscopy and endometrial biopsy we have to do. Then vulvovaginal swab, pregnancy test. Pregnancy test is not required.
Why? Why not required?
Because she's 55-year-old and
Very good. Very
unlikely
good.
she's pregnant.
So be very careful about the ages. Like in gynecology, the age is important. In infertility, the age is important. For cervical screening, the age is important. So please don't miss that point. If you will miss that point, you will not be able to understand because all are recommended. So what to do, what not to do. So if you notice that the age is 55, then only you will be able to choose the right answer. Okay, so if you see, if you read the talk and if you extract the point and make your notes like this, like if you do it in a right manner, in history you have to look for menstrual history, contraceptive, because it could be related to contraception, then cancer, then sexual, and if she's on any medication and all that. So these are the history you will see. Age is important. In examination, you want to see for the any contact bleeding. So careful inspection of vulva, vagina, and cervix is what you want to do. There could be ulceration, tribal, dermatitis, anything which can lead to postcoital bleeding. So it could be simple if on examination you find anything. And in investigation, we already discussed pregnancy test, infection screening test is what you will do. And biopsy and all these things if it is intermenstrual bleeding with postcoital bleeding. So it's simpler now. If in exam they will give you intermenstrual bleeding with postcoital bleeding, you can choose this test, right? Otherwise, these three are your main tests to rule out. So you should grab the knowledge like that. At the end, you can describe yourself in a very precise manner, and it will always be in your memory. You will never forget. So presentation matters actually. How well it is presented to you and how well you can remember, that is connected. Okay, now, oh, I'm so sorry. This is, let me make it animation. Yes. Who wants to read this? Yes, anybody can read. Go ahead. This is from cervical cancer in pregnancy.
A 32 years old pregnant woman is 16 weeks pregnant, had undergone LETs for CGIN. What should be your recommendation? A. Delay screening till the end of second trimester. Delay screening till 3 months postpartum. Do the screening as recommended for TOC or none of above. It's C because it's CGIN and it's more aggressive. We can't leave it.
Very good, my dear. Where else in pregnancy you don't delay, and where you can delay? You cannot delay for
Uh,
CGIN, and where
yeah,
else you will not
and
delay?
CIN3 and more. And suspicious
So
looking cervix.
CIN2,
Suspicious looking cervix, which we can't delay.
suspicious
And
looking cervix is normal in pregnancy, isn't it? Because the pregnancy always there will be erosion, there will be vascularity, so it's normal, isn't it?
mm,
There are only three things where you will not delay. One is, my dear Shilpa, there will be no non-treated CIN3. Yes, if it is there, it is 6-month follow-up. But what they have mentioned in the guideline clearly is one is CGIN, one is CIN2 with unclear margin, or one is CIN3 with unclear margin. So don't think it is only CIN3. It is 2 or 3 because nowadays there is only low risk and high risk. And the CIN2 and 3, which is moderate and high earlier, now has become only high category. So CIN 2 and 3 are equally dangerous. So in these two things, if there is unclear margin and you are doing the test of cure, because always the re-excision is not required. There is 3 re-excision criteria where you have to re-excise: glandular abnormality, age more than 50, and invasion. So you have not done the re-excision, margin was positive. In such scenario, it is dangerous. So you cannot delay it. So only 3 things. One is CGIN, one is CIN2 with unclear margin, one is CIN3 with unclear margin. So can you tell me when you can delay it? So I told you the 3 places where you are not going to delay it. So when you can delay it?
It's CIN1 and
Very
CIN2
good. My dear,
when
CIN2,
margins are not involved. When margins are not involved.
yes, that is there. Means whatever you have gone in this criteria, 2 and 3 margin not involved, you will put it in the low risk category. So one is clear. One is CIN1 you told me. What else? Yes, CIN1 you can easily delay because anyways the follow-up is yearly. So nothing is, because why you are not doing in pregnancy? Because more spurious results and it will confuse you more. So if you can delay, better to delay and get the proper result rather than doing it early and then getting confused. So that is the reason. So one is CIN1 and other is a routine follow-up, right? Her routine follow-up, she's due for her follow-up for screening and she became pregnant. So no need of doing it in pregnancy. So you're very correct that you will not do it in here. Now, screening in pregnancy, you will not delay if CGIN. If CIN 2 and 3 with involved or uncertain margin, you will not delay. What is the purpose of doing all this in pregnancy whenever a high risk is? Can you can do colposcopy safely in pregnancy, but only because of a spurious result. Your aim of colposcopy is to exclude the invasion and defer the biopsy until women has delivered. That's why you're doing colposcopy. That's why they say that you should repeat the colposcopy at the end of second trimester, because you need repeat colposcopy. If she's already beyond that, you have to repeat it 3 months postpartum, because it's difficult in pregnancy to predict accurately what is going on. So you want to be more careful in this scenario. So you have to sometimes even repeat the colposcopy. Your aim is to avoid the biopsy till women deliver, because taking biopsy means you're putting the pregnancy at risk. So these are all the purpose of. These all the slides I have taken from YouTube recording only. So if you all want to brush up, you can just listen to the recordings. Now, yes, next question. Who wants to read this?
I will read.
Nobody else is interested. Only Dr. Gopa and Dr. Madhiya is interested today to read. Yes, Dr.
Because
Anam, Dr. Subhashri, Dr. Akira, Dr. Rama, Vaishnavi, Dr. Shilpa, Dr. Shugra, Dr. Lima, Dr. Yasmin, Dr. Sadia, Dr. Beena. Many are there, but nobody is interested to read today. Why? Just go for it. We are just discussing. It's not like you should know the answer.
when we are appearing in July, that's why stress is very
Huh?
high. We are appearing in July and stress is very high.
Don't worry, my dear. Don't worry. You all will succeed. Nothing like that. Just see, taking stress, what it is going to, how it is going to help you ultimately. The more relaxed you are, whatever hard work you have done, you will be able to produce. The more stressed you are, you will make easy things also wrong. So yes, take stress now, but not on the day of exam. On the day of exam, go relax and think that I'm going to kill it. And believe me, you will kill it. So on the day of exam, no stress. Produce whatever you have remembered till now. And you will be. Don't worry. Okay, so everybody made a point that they don't want to read. Okay, so Dr. Gopa, you can go ahead, my dear.
Okay, thank you. A 41-year-old woman presents with painless vaginal bleeding at 27 weeks of gestation in a third pregnancy. Preliminary investigations suggest squamous carcinoma of the cervix. What imaging is now indicated to stage the cancer?
Yes, so what do you think?
Chest X-ray, abdomen and pelvic CT.
Very good. Chest X-ray, abdomen and pelvic CT is what you do for any CS cervix to stage. But Dr. Gopa, here the patient is pregnant. Do you think CT will be your first
Chest.
choice?
Then only a transvaginal ultrasound is there. The PET scan we do for only recurrence and all. MRI
Very good.
without contrast. So I think we are left with transvaginal ultrasound only.
You cannot do TVS anyways you have done. TVS is the basic
Yeah.
investigation. TVS
We
is
can
not
do
for
MRI
staging.
without contrast. Without contrast, we
Yes,
can do
because
MRI.
TVS is not for staging. That is just a basic test. Why you are doing
Mm-hmm.
here, you want to do staging. They are asking you what
Yeah.
imaging for staging. So
Mm-hmm.
staging, usually in a non-pregnant women, you will do by CT. This is the
Yeah.
answer for non-pregnant. But because
Mm-hmm.
she's pregnant now, you cannot do the CT. CT is not your first choice. You want to do
Mm-hmm.
MRI always in pregnancy. And gadolinium enhanced MRI is not safe in pregnancy.
Yeah.
So you will go for MRI without contrast.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this, now you will not forget this forever. Now you have
Yeah.
clear concept about the investigation. So we have discussed it, so you will not forget it. So this is the benefit of solving question. That's why I took this 10 question from MRCG question bank, because you don't get this new question in the books, right? So new questions, somebody has to make it for you, because the new guideline questions, the books are old, the questions, new questions you will never get. So that's how it helps. Yes, next question, who wants to read? Yes, come on. Anybody can read. Whoever like to read, my dear, no problem.
36 years old woman presents at 23 weeks gestation in her first pregnancy with venous channel bleeding. Subsequent investigations confirm the diagnosis of stage 1B2 cervical cancer. What treatment should now be offered to this patient? Neoadjuvant chemotherapy, pelvic lymph node dissection, radical trachelectomy, radiotherapy, and simple trachelectomy. So she is 23 weeks of gestation, like according to the guideline, more than 22 weeks. So, and it is 1B2. We will discuss for neoadjuvant chemotherapy or delay the pregnancy till we can wait for maturity. I think this will be A.
Yes, very good, my dear. See how much you can remember, then why you are stressed up. Very good. My dear Shilpa, termination of pregnancy only for less than 22 weeks. For more than 22 weeks, they say that you can go for neoadjuvant chemotherapy and delayed treatment after delivery, DTAD. So NACT, neoadjuvant chemotherapy, or DTAD, delayed treatment after delivery, is what you can do after 22 weeks. That's why they have given you 23 weeks. So they always, whatever they write in their guideline, they give you the question uh, very close to that. So if they have given the guideline 22 weeks and this is 23 weeks, you can choose neoadjuvant chemotherapy. So if you see here, stage 1A1 without lymphovascular invasion, where the lymph node involvement is negligible, less than 1%. So they say that only cone biopsy will be enough. These all could be an EMQ question in the exam. These all could be an SBA question in the exam. And this is always the favorite topic, because cervical cancer is the most common cancer in pregnancy. That's why it is important. That's why this topic is important and always important. So stage 1A1 without lymphovascular invasion, cone biopsy between 14 to 20 weeks will be your choice, and you can do vaginal delivery. Please don't forget this. Then beyond this, A1 with lymphovascular invasion, A2 or 1B1, simple trachelectomy, or you can delay the treatment after delivery, NACT, and cesarean. Here vaginal, here cesarean. And here you more than 22 weeks, you are going to delay it or do the NACTs. As I told you, more than 22 weeks in any stage, you can do this too. That's why they give you simple thing, 23 weeks, so you can easily choose NACT or DATD. If 1B1, 1B2, the ideal treatment is radical hysterectomy and bilateral salpingectomy with or without oophorectomy with lymphadenectomy. This is the gold standard. But here also, if more than 22 weeks, you can delay your treatment. So this is what you have to remember. More than 22 weeks, always you can delay the treatment and just give the chemotherapy. Now, next question. Who wants to read this?
Okay. A 31-year-old woman presents at 32 weeks gestation in her first pregnancy with painless vaginal bleeding. Subsequent investigation confirmed the diagnosis of stage 1B2 cervical cancer. She is on neoadjuvant chemotherapy. How long should be offered to this patient? Okay.
How long chemotherapy should be offered? I think this is a writing mistake. How long chemotherapy should be offered to this patient? This is what we are trying to ask. 32 weeks she is, and how long you are going to give her chemotherapy?
Up to 37 weeks, ma.
Pardon? Up till
37
37?
weeks.
My dear, in chemotherapy, what you have to remember is you will start it after 14 weeks because first trimester chemotherapy is not safe. And you will stop it at 35 weeks. Why? Because she can go in labor and they don't want her to deliver in a compromised state, immunocompromised state. Because if you will give at 35 weeks, the last 38 weeks, her dangerous period is over. If she deliver after that, no problem. So you don't want a woman to deliver after chemotherapy within 3 weeks. And chemotherapy is a weekly, 3-weekly session. So that's why up till 35 weeks is the recommendation. So please don't forget, because always it's a favorite question that when you will stop chemotherapy, can she breastfeed after that? How many days after that she can breastfeed? So after 2 weeks of chemotherapy, she
14 days. 14 days.
right? So these are the
Okay, ma.
favorite questions. So, and the chemotherapy dosing, how you'll calculate? You will calculate from pre-pregnancy weight. So all these are important and easy to remember. Means it's not very difficult to remember. It's easily understandable that if you give her 35 weeks, she is suppressed for 3 weeks. So better to not give her very late in pregnancy, because if she'll deliver in a compromised state, she'll develop infection and all that. So the criteria is up till 35 weeks. Okay. So all the things related to chemotherapy you have to remember. Always it is favorite questions in the oncology. Yes, last question. Who wants to read it?
A 32 years old woman present at 28 weeks of gestation with painless vaginal bleeding. Subsequent investigation confirmed the diagnosis of 1A2 CS cervix. She is on neoadjuvant chemotherapy. How to plan her delivery? CS at 34 to 36 weeks and VD at 34 to 36 weeks. So there are two options of CS. One at 34 to 36 weeks and the other is at 35 to 37
No
weeks.
option of the vaginal delivery.
So I think we should go for A.
No.
Very good. Very good, my dear. How clear your thoughts are, so how clearly you can identify the answer. It depends upon that. So very rightly you told that you will go for CS at 34 to 36 weeks, because 34 to 36 is the time they recommended for delivery. And because it is not 1A1 without lymphovascular invasion, so no point of NVD, so only CS. So CS at 34 to 36 weeks is the right answer. Now I want to ask you one more question, because you're so brilliant. So I'm happy to ask you this question, that how you will do the CS. Will it be lower segment or classical?
Uh, they said if lower segment is formed and the baby is not premature, you can go for lower segment cesarean section. But if the lower segment is not formed and baby is premature, you can go for the vertical section,
So
the midline vertical section.
you are choosing cesarean at 34 to 36. So always you are doing preterm CS for her. So it's always preterm.
Yeah.
So when you
Yeah.
will decide classical and when you will decide lower segment. So because it is always preterm. So preterm means yes, there will be not that developed lower segment, but yes, there could be a lower segment development after 34 weeks. So both ways, when you will choose classical and when you will choose lower segment, because anyways it is preterm. So your criteria is development of the lower segment.
Yeah.
And what is the other thing?
Mm, Placental attachment or
No, my dear. Basically, if you have a mass, supposedly if you have a mass or if you have an ulcer, means at the level of cervix, if she'll deliver vaginally, she will bleed too much, right?
yeah.
And if you have a mass occupying in the lower segment, if you have a mass or anything, the lower segment is not suitable for the delivery by the cesarean, you will go for classical. So they will give you in the question something which will give you a hint when to choose lower segment and when to choose classical. Why I raise this point, because earlier it was classical only. Now in the recent talk they have told that even you can go for lower segment if feasible. So you have to decide carefully, because in the option they can give you lower segment, they can give you classical also. So you have to remember the weeks of gestation when you will do. You have to understand you have to do lower segment or classical, because there is a possibility of lower segment now. Earlier it was not there. So this is a new concept. So that's why I wanted to highlight this. So thank you very much, Dr. Madiha. You have done wonderfully, and all the best for your exam, and hopefully you will tell us the good news. Any other questions you
Thank
have? So
you.
now you
Thank you,
got an
Dr.
idea.
Shweta.
Thank you, my dear. Anybody else has any doubt about your preparation, about how to make notes now, how to do the TOG questions, how TOG are important? Anybody has any question now, or we are done? Okay, thank you, Dr. Beena. So I will take it as a good understanding for all the topics we covered today. And these are our free groups, as I told you, and you can go through the YouTube recording. That is really, really important for your exam. If till now you have not subscribed our channel, please do that, because whatever is there is really, really useful in exam. I am putting in YouTube only which is really important for exams. So please don't miss that opportunity to listen to that. And it's in a beautiful presentation, so you will be easily able to remember that. Join our Telegram group for daily question answer discussion and schedule, and Facebook group for important notifications. Thank you so much for attending today. If you have any queries, you can message me on this number, and this is my WhatsApp number, and you can mail me if you have any queries. That's it. Thank you so much for your time today. And if you need any guidance regarding anything, just let me know. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Shilpa.
Thank you, Dr. Shweta. Thank you very
Keep
much.
revising. All the
Thank
best
you,
for
ma'am.
your exam, and hopefully you all will succeed soon.